It was going for like 3 minutes. Now we live.
Our,
All
our,
right. Hi, folks.
our
Welcome back to Good to
producer.
Game Radio. It's been a long time. When was the last time we had an episode on Twitch? It's been a while. Since the last
Maybe,
draft?
no, we did one where we had a lot of tech issues.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Good to Game Radio podcast. I'm your host, Tony. Joining me is Vance, producer Vance, and Jaime.
Hello.
Say hi,
Hey,
guys.
hey. Hi,
We're
guys.
strangers to everybody because
Hey,
it's been
hey.
forever since we've been live on Twitch. So it's good to have everybody back together again uh, in this format. And where the followers have been loyal to us and listen to our podcast episodes and or join us here. Thank you very much for being such great listeners. We appreciate everything you guys are doing for us. Um, be sure to share the stream. Let your compadres know that we're live and get them all in here into the chat. We'd love to hear what people are saying. And tonight we are going to be talking about did Activision slash Xbox drop the ball with this year's Call of Duty. So the Call of Duty dropped the ball, basically. So let's get into the episode. Vance, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, nothing much. Trying to get back on the producer horse.
Yeah, so you have the honorary position tonight of being able to firsthand tell us about the quality of Black Ops 7, because I think you're the only one that's purchased it.
He really is the only one who purchased it and has been gaming on this a while. I haven't seen him at all in Battlefield.
Yeah, I played some Red Sec, but I've been playing Call of Duty since 2009 Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2. The state of Call of Duty now is they have to decide who they want to cater to. Do they want to cater to the general public, or do they want to cater to your popular streamers and the people that play competitively? Because it's definitely three different markets, if you want to say.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I'm a casual Call of Duty player. Jaime, I think you're in that category too.
Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
Advanced, obviously, I think you're casual too, but you, like you said, you have played for many, many years. You and your wife, your whole family plays Call of Duty, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So
That's
it's
why,
probably like
yeah.
outside of NBA 2K, it's probably the go-to option of games that you guys play. And I think your wife also streams. Shout out to JQ. Um, if you
Y-
want to watch Vance's wife, murder people in Call of Duty, she streams that a lot. So check out her stream. But yeah, so you guys, know this game very well. Uh, and it for the last few years, there's been some very popular versions of it, uh, and it still dominates the sales charts almost every year. It's like why Microsoft acquired Activision was to kind of get their hands on this franchise because it's a $1 billion producer every year for Activision. So they dropped a lot of money on Activision itself, which comes with a lot of different studios, but uh, this particular IP is, I think, their primary reason that they made the acquisition because they wanted to get Call of Duty into Game Pass, um, which they did last year with Black Ops 6, um, which I played on Game Pass. Um, and I think that version of Black Ops was pretty popular. I think it had some really good sales, though it's still, I think it still lost like $300 million. We talked about that before, right, Jaime? That it had like
Yes,
a
yeah.
$300
And
million
and they
dollar
were
hit.
and they were saying that it was because of Game Pass.
Right. So, Vance, in your opinion, between Black Ops 6 and the new Black Ops 7, do you see like a significant difference in like the quality of the games?
Um, Absolutely not. Black Ops 7 feels like a DLC. It feels like they tweaked like very minimal things. And, I think they spent more time trying to combat let's say like the cheating in Warzone that they did actually making like a good Call of Duty game. But as like a consumer, it's like um how much do you want them to change without getting away from like Call of Duty, like like the Call of Duty template? Because they tried the like the Battlefield, environment, destructibility, whatever. But it's like you can't put too much Battlefield into Call of Duty because then it just becomes Battlefield. I'll go play Battlefield if I want to play Battlefield. I'll play Call of Duty if I want to play Call of Duty. So it is like a not a well developed game, but then it's like it's being true to who Call of Duty is. So it's like people want more, but it's like how much more do you want without going away from the identity of Call of Duty?
Yeah, go ahead, Jaime.
Okay, is it being true to the Call of Duty franchise when you're just having like giant sized bad guys on screen and machetes dropping out of nowhere. Machetes the size of buildings out of
Absolutely
Well,
not.
ab-
You're referring to the campaign, and then this year they changed it where the campaign is co-op, so I don't have the option to play solo. They're forcing, they're literally forcing you to play with other people, and you don't know these people. You can go in with a squad, or you can, just find some people. But then it's like, you have some people that want to play the mission. You have some people that are playing achievements. So like, I definitely don't like that. Like, I rather just go in there by myself if I'm gonna get bad teammates.
is there, Vance, sorry, is there a zombie mode this year? I mean, 2 years ago, I had a blast with the zombie campaign. Last year's iteration, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, had a tweaked version, which wasn't like the open world map anymore. I think it was like wave based. I might be wrong. I didn't really play it. Is zombies back here? And does it merit your attention?
Um, Absolutely not. It's like, if you were a hardcore zombies fan, then you're like, you love it because it's the original wave based, but the open world that you and I like, is not really there. They do have something that you have to like. So zombies is wave based, and it does have Easter eggs inside of it. And I know that's what a lot of people are trying to get to now. Now, what do you get once you complete the Easter egg? I'm not 1,000% sure. I tried it one time, and it was like we spent like 2 hours, like almost doing it, and then you die at the end. You get nothing. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
I'm
Like,
out.
right, right, right. Because there's so many steps that you have to do, and it's the same, like map. So it's like you have to play through, like the repetitiveness of going back and forth to different sites and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely don't like that aspect of it.
yeah, see, the wave-based zombies the traditional
I
way of
agree.
playing zombies.
I agree with
But
that.
I agree with you that the open world version with the extraction that you had to do and all the quests and getting stuff works just like, you know, uh Arc Raiders, if that popular game, where you have to go and get loot and then get out while surviving, hordes of zombies attacking you, and you could kind of like, control like the difficulty of it by how, but you could either stay on the outskirts where the zombies weren't as difficult, or you could go further in to the zone and it becomes more difficult and stuff. So, and then as you collected equipment and stuff, you got more powerful, so you could go into those zones.
Well, and not only that that you just highlighted, but there was a plot. And if you kept on playing like the quests that the game gave you, you eventually uncovered like missions that were like, hey, go and exfil this one character. Hey, go do this. I mean, there was a plot that you could start unlocking by playing this continuously. It wasn't just like, repetitive, rinse and repeat and do it again, right? And to your point, there was consequences. If you wanted to go in and jump into like the red zone right away and your character just wipes out, you lost your rucksack, you lost your gas mask, you lost whatever equipment you had. And there was a really, you know, there was a big consequence that was felt because sometimes you're like, oh no, I got to start again and start collecting all the gear that I need to be more successful when I go in. So it forced me at least to be more mindful of how I wanted to play the game. And also, if I was playing co-op with people that I knew, it was fun to guide them through and be like, "Hey, do this. Let's go in here. Let's clear this. This is a good opportunity to get like better level equipment, whatnot." With the wave formula, I know it's how it started, but the game has evolved. The player base has evolved. If people wanted the same wave approach, I think people would still be playing what was this like the original Black Ops. I don't know when it was introduced, so maybe it wasn't in that one.
Right. So yeah, I like the wave based one in Black Ops 6. I liked it, and then I got bored with it. Where
Exactly.
the open world version, I never seem to get bored with. Um, so I know
It
a
it
lot of people did not like the fact that they were going back to wave based.
and also Cold War. Was the very first that was released for PlayStation 5. I have buddies who still play this, and it's not necessarily wave based, but it's like mission.
Open world,
It's so, but you have like this massive map. You go in there, you do the objectives, you exfil, and you get the choice to like leave or go to a different map. And I think at the end of the day, there might be like a handful of maps, but you're not in the same one, right?
right? I feel
And
like
and
I feel like the zombies mode of Call of Duty had was getting to the point where it was almost as popular as the multiplayer mode of Call of Duty.
I would have bought a Call of Duty game strictly on the zombies, right?
Right. But then they went backwards
That I
in their
feel I
design
totally feel
design
that they did.
philosophy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, to the
So
point that this particular release for this year, that's why I was asking Vance, is there a zombie mode? Because nobody's talking about it. Notice how like other years people were like streaming and saying like, hey, here's how you do these things, and you'll get like blueprints or like there's cheats, there's all these missions that you can do. Now it's like silent crickets,
right.
man.
Vance, what is unique about Black Ops 7?
Um, what is unique about Black Ops 7? Well, they touched up Warzone, so now you can no longer buy selfies and you can no longer buy gas masks. You have to either find them randomly. Um that's the only thing that's really like unique. But they bought back the wall jump, not wall running. Some people confuse it, but yeah, just like the wall jump, But other than that, it's the same, 3 lane maps. I think everybody right now is just chasing camos, honestly. Like the objectiveness of the certain game modes and stuff like that, like it's not there. Like everybody's just, like you can feel it. Like people just don't really care about multiplayer anymore. They're just like, I'm gonna chase these camos, and that's the focus.
I did feel that over the last few years that people didn't really care about multiplayer. Like it was either Warzone or zombies. But multiplayer was just like, I'm gonna go do some multiplayer for 30 minutes because that's all I got time to do. So I'll go do some multiplayer and I want to level up a weapon camo or something like that. I felt like multiplayer had taken a backseat to Warzone. Do you have to own do you have to buy Call of Duty to play Warzone? Or is that a free mode?
Nope, it's a free mode.
Yeah, that's been free content for a number of years.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah, I figured it was free. I just, you never know if they make changes and stuff. But so they introduced a free mode to a game that took away from its kind of like foundational modes. So, I mean, if you don't have to buy Warzone and you can still get, kind of the feel of Call of Duty in Warzone, then I don't know why you would buy multiplayer when multiplayer seems like it's dying off, especially if they're not bringing anything unique to it. And the fact, like you talked about, it was not wall running, and I know this is what really turned me off of this particular version was it's not wall running, but it sure did look like wall running. And
Oh, did you have a flashback to Modern Warfare? No,
advanced
right,
warfare,
right.
Advanced Warfare, that's the
right?
one it was.
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
worst
so
one.
right
Advanced
this,
Warfare.
yeah, and So you could be famous, right? For really, you can be famous for being great, right? Or just the greatest, like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. You're famous because you're great, or you can be famous because you're really, really bad. And the fact that we could all name Advanced Warfare off the top of our heads, and that game was what 10 years ago.
It
It's
really
not known
was
for
10
being
years
great.
ago.
It's known for
I,
being bad. And then they introduced something that looks like the mechanics from that game, which is what turned everybody off in that game. Like,
Right. Right. And it's like the biggest thing with the Call of Duty now, like you can go to Facebook gaming, you can go to Twitch, you can go to TikTok, YouTube, and there's people literally what they call, like with wall hacks on, like just blatantly cheating, and like they got, like hundreds of people watching. And it's like you can literally see people running through the wall like a hangman figure. So it's like it's no consequences, like from cheating and things like that. So it's like people really don't want to spend 70, $80, just to be, playing against somebody that has a disadvantage. And they're like in every game mode, every level, like from the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Like, so Call of Duty definitely has to be better. But it's like there's no penalty from the consumer base, because you figure everybody that bought it and was like, oh, it's a bad game, I'm not playing. They don't care. They already got your initial money. And then the people that are
right.
playing Warzone, they are the ones doing the microtransactions, from skins to characters, like, so either way, like they're making money.
Oh yeah, they're making money. But at the same time, they're driving away a lot of their players. Like the reason I don't like to play Call of Duty here recently is because I don't like getting in a match, and I'm fighting a rabbit, a guy dressed in a pink bunny outfit, like what is, I thought this was a shooter, like
but if you,
a,
I mean, there's an audience for that, right?
there
But
is an audience for it, but it should not be in Call of Duty.
that's the
Go
point.
go play a game where that fits. Like a military shooter that should be grounded. The great, versions of Call of Duty in the past were grounded in either in great campaigns that it made you feel like you're an operator, right? That's Call of Duty. Like I'm an operator. Now I'm a bunny rabbit. I'm a tree. I'm a vampire, right? And I'm facing off against these people who are cheating half the time, by the way. Like, that what I don't want to play that. That's why, like there was a game that came out this year that swore off those those crazy skins and stuff like that, and based itself in grounded combat. So, Battlefield 6, that a game that's been in the dumpster for 4 or 5 years since Battlefield 1. And they came back and they went back to what worked in the past, and it drew all the players, right? The people that were tired of what Call of Duty was doing.
I was just today. I went into the office and I was talking to a coworker who is a heavy Call of Duty player, and I was able to convince him late last year to say, "Hey, give uh give Battlefield 6 a try." And he played it. He started saying back then, "Yeah, I was able to get some of my buddies from Call of Duty into Battlefield, and they were doing Xbox Live. Should say Live, Game Pass." Um, and today I was like, okay, so are you still on Battlefield? He said, you know what? I really did like Battlefield, but there's one thing that made me come back to Call of Duty. And he specifically quoted the Omni movement. So Vance, as somebody who hasn't experienced Black Ops 6 nor 7, can you tell us a little bit about this? And Is that really like a big differentiator for somebody who's like testing the waters, or what's up with that?
When you refer to the Omni movement, what do you mean?
I think in Black Ops 6 they introduced a mechanic where you can slide or like fall to the side, all while still like keeping your aims, your
Mm.
sights on the same point,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay, okay. You're
I
talking
think
about
that
the
there's something like that in Battlefield because I know that I can like
There
fall on
is.
my back
Yeah.
or fall on the side, but he specifically said, and I'm gonna quote him, he said, I was spoiled by the Omni movement in Call of Duty. So
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So the what I call like the John Wick effect, like jumping out the window backwards, like shooting. Like just so when they first introduced it in Black Ops 6, like I remember the first time I seen it, like I ran around the corner, and so since I've been playing so long and I don't really stare at things, I glance. When I'm glancing, like I was telling JQ, I'm glancing of what's wrong. So this dude was laying on the ground, but he was facing up. I'm like, when you die, like either your body is, like, contoured a certain way or whatever, you laying face down. He was laying up. I said, oh, and he was, back with the gun up, and I was like, this is crazy. I killed him, I shot him, but I laughed because I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, and I have some clips of me doing that. Somebody's chasing me. I, dive down the steps, turn around, and they running up. But yeah, that's definitely a fun aspect of the game, and like if you just want to have fun doing it. But yeah, I definitely like that, like the Omni movement of
Right. I mean that is a kind of like the selling point for COD is like you can be like what Vance was saying. You can be John Wick, right? You can go into a building and like go go crazy and kill everybody in it. And like you cannot do that in Battlefield. I'm like it is extremely difficult to do that in like Battlefield, right? You have to be more tactical. You have to, you know, just if they can see you, you're dying in Battlefield. Where in Call of Duty, the movement is a little bit faster, a little bit slicker, and you have some survivability based on movement. Um, so yeah, I think the movement is quicker and more stylized in Call of Duty, where it just makes you feel great. And I think that is kind of like the core thing that Call of Duty can hang its hat on is they've kind of made that uh their selling point, right? Is like, oh, you just the movement in the combat that's fast paced. If you're good, can make you feel dominant.
but
Where
part of that, I will remember the very first time I was playing Battlefield. People kept on, just raging, telling me like, well, not me, but other players too. This isn't Call of Duty. Play it like
right,
Battlefield
right,
because people were just like running into bombs and stuff. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of people who are just like, this is not Call of Duty, right? And you're seeing like the chat coming up the side, like left and right. And it took personally, it took me a while to adapt to the gameplay mechanics and really make it like get into that experience because I was going at it thinking this is going to be a Call of Duty game and it's not. And to your point, Tony, you're right. When somebody sees you in Battlefield and you haven't seen them, you're at a disadvantage. This weekend I was playing with Odie and I was playing the recon class. And recon, you're trying to snipe, so you're trying to be tactical, you're trying to be like get, the best position out there. One time I'm going up this alley just like trying to get into the right spot and I'm holding here my sniper rifle. And it's like, cue in the sound effect from Metal Gear Solid when you get spotted because like I see a dude, he sees me, and I immediately know like I'm dead because you with the recon, it's like it's really hard at close quarters to like survive. So so here I am trying to like swap weapons and pull out my handgun, which is I'm at a disadvantage at any given time. Um, but while I'm trying to do this, dudes are, unloading on me with his light machine gun. So it's a different game for sure. But I'm just
Yeah,
surprised that this one comment about the movement was for him. Maybe he just couldn't adapt to the battlefield gameplay style, and he's just jumping all over the place and just doing the John Wick movements.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're looking for from the feeling of playing a shooter, right? Like with Battlefield, you have more often than not static lines, right? Which is something more realistic, right? You have a point of contact, and one team is trying to push the other team further back. Uh, Call of Duty, there's no such thing because as soon as you make a push on the other team, guess where the other team's spawning at? Behind you. Call of Duty is all about flanking the players, and if you get too aggressive and you push too far forward, then then it spawns the team back where you came from. So now you don't know where they're at. So you have this flanking mechanism going on with Call of Duty. Well, you don't have that in Battlefield, not in most of their modes. Most of their modes are static points of lines of contact, and you're trying to break through. So it can be very grindy. You have That's why vehicles are important and aircraft and all that stuff. You can flank if it simulates more of what real battle would be. I know it's a video game, but it simulates more what a battle would be in real life versus what Call of Duty is. Call of Duty
I
is like,
agree. I agree.
you know, it's an arena, basically. A Call of Duty map is an arena, and it's about movement around the arena and trying to outflank the other team and keep them guessing where you're at. So, but that's a very fun play style. There's a reason Call of Duty is popular and sold millions of dollars because they refined that mode. The problem is they've gotten away from some of their basics, which is they were losing their identity as far as a modern military shooter, and introducing fantasy style stuff because they were more interested in selling skins, and so of course it made them millions of dollars, but it's also driving away people that want to play a good military shooter, um, and not have to deal with people, in funky outfits running all over the place. Like I still much rather play a base, like a multiplayer map that doesn't have, all the extra skins and stuff, just like Battlefield does. But I would rather do it on Call of Duty, right? Because I like the movement and the shooting better on Call of Duty. But they had gotten so far away from that um, it just kind of drove me away. I got kind of tired of it. So
Man, I was remembering you this past weekend because I gave a donation to the Wounded Warrior Project, and I remember that you for one of the iterations of Call of Duty, you bought a skin that was supposed to help veterans,
right,
and and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting any skin for this, but it's the right thing to do.
right,
yeah. I mean, I mean, another problem that Call of Duty has that it's not even Call of Duty's fault. Um, we all work with them like that. We all have coworkers and stuff like that, and it's like it's nothing better for everybody to play their position and everything runs smooth. Now, if you have somebody new who don't know, you don't mind helping them along with them like that. But if you have somebody that's seasoned senior that been there for a while and they still don't know what they're doing, and you just looking like, man, you a lost cause. So that's what multiplayer is. So to Tony's point, it's like Call of Duty has random spots of spawning, but then they don't have random spots of spawning. It's like you said, if you know a team that doesn't push too much, they're going to keep you spawning in one side, and they're going to get spawn trapped. So it's like you have people that are just buying Call of Duty, whatever like that, just because they want to be, in the know or whatever, but they don't really understand it. Do you have some people who, understand it, but they don't care? Like you look at the scoreboard, 2 for 12, 3 for 15, 1 for 10. You just literally running straight out there getting smacked. And that's something I'm just like, the skill based matchmaking doesn't exist. Like it does not exist because I'm like, there's no way you put me, against a full squad and we got a whole team of randoms. Like they definitely have to fix the skill based matchmaking. And the thing is, like, they do at modes that people care about. So when you start going to world events, you start going to big time tournaments, like you have to level up. So it's almost like rivals. So like if I'm level 3 bronze, whatever like that, I can't play with somebody that's platinum or that's high rank because they're like, no, you stink. Stay in your place. You play with the low levels. Like Call of Duty has that same thing with the competitive side, and they call it ranked. So if somebody is so high, you can't play with them. So you have to keep up. And if not, but when you go to a multiplayer, they let everybody in. And then you be like, man, bro, like, don't do me like that.
Right. So let's get into the conversation about uh, what Call of Duty is going to do to kind of regain its dominance, right? So right now, it's down, right? What are the numbers we were talking about earlier? They're looking at double digit drops in their sales for Black Ops 7. They were already down, you know, hundreds of $1 millions from Black Ops 6, putting it on Game Pass. And I think this time they did not put it on Game Pass, right? Um, am I wrong? I
I
canceled my
don't.
Game Pass subscription, so I don't remember, but I don't believe they put it on Game Pass initially. So you had to buy the game. But
So I was, my only point of context into like how many people are playing it right now is Steam charts. And Steam charts shows it as in the 28th spot, right? Of people playing this game. Um, 39,000 current players. Just to put it into context, Pal World has got 36,000, right? Pal World, right? Whereas Arc Raiders has got 324,000,
did
sitting
you
at number
just
three.
say that Call of Duty had how many people, concurrent players on Steam right now? These are people on PC. How many?
39,000.
39,000.
Yes.
That is nothing. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, so it's a competitive environment out there. They're going against Battlefield. They're going against Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is huge right now.
It's crushing it right now, left and
Uh,
right.
then you have other hero shooters like Marvel Rivals, which we played a ton of last year.
Number
That
one
kind of took
game. Yeah,
that took my attention away from Black Ops 6 was Marvel Rivals.
me too.
So there's a lot of options out there right now that are kind of catering to different things. And Arc Raiders, we were talking about zombies, the open world zombies mode where you had to go in and collect items and level up and do that stuff. That is Arc Raiders, except without zombies. And Vance, you picked it up yourself, so you've kind of had a little bit of a taste of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
but so Call of Duty, uh, the landscape looks a lot different for them. So now they're going to have to work harder to get their players back. So what do you think they need to do to do that?
Um.
Okay,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think I was gonna say, I was gonna hand it off to Vance because I think he's probably gonna have the best context here since he's a current player. So Vance, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say about this.
Um. Right now, what Call of Duty can do is make make the maps fun. Um. Do away with the traditional 3 lanes. Just have it so like all the mechanics that you have that you're developing and putting in there. that we can use in multiplayer. Um, don't make like the grind and the gun like feel like a chore. Feel like every day I gotta come home from work. I can't play the game for fun. I gotta grind this gun out. Like take the gun grinding out. Like I already played like I already paid my money, cut the levels in half. Instead of it being 42 levels, make it 25, whatever, because you have over like what, 30 something guns in the game. So, and just, like just go back to team based without the sweatiness. And one thing they can learn from is Arc Raiders. Like Arc Raiders, I believe Tony sent an article saying like, if you play a certain style, you're going to be amongst those people, whatever like that. So, like if you can look at stats and see somebody has played capture the flag or domination and they only got like, 10 games in 2 minutes on the spot, then no, that person isn't playing the objective. Put them with other people who don't want to play the objective, but group like skills together. Like focus on that. And less skins, let us just focus on having fun. But I definitely think they need a fresh maps. Like we've played the old maps. We don't want to pay $80 for old maps. Because I think they got like 6, 7 old maps from previous Call of Duties on this one. Like this definitely should have been a DLC, but just give us fresh, brand new maps. That's start there.
All right. So from what I heard you say, you're saying is this kind of like an idea that you're saying try to save the current release, or is it like no, focus all of your effort now to
On
the
their
next
next,
release?
so we're what's it the saying, the horses already left the barn or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do with this.
Right.
So
You know,
you already have a
it's
bad
it's
taste in your
it's
mouth of
yeah,
this one.
Absolutely.
it's a smoking pile of whatever, right? So um, there's nothing they
So
can do with it.
so
So,
so
but
what do you guys think about this? I mean, there's a lot of, and Tony, I'm gonna quote you on this, but you were saying that there was some plans to no longer do a yearly release on Call of Duty, but rather maybe skip a year
right.
between releases.
So this would address kind of Vance's criticism of it feeling like DLC, right? Because this has been a couple of times over the last few years where the next year's game felt just like this year's game,
I can
except
guarantee you that Modern Warfare 3 was supposed to be DLC content. And then they were like, "Oh, let's kind of tweak it some and we'll make a full-blown release out of this." Because that, remember, that was the one year where all your guns, skins, and all your
yeah,
progress
it carried over,
carried over.
right? So yeah, like I'm I'm supposed to spend $70 on basically the same game, right? That's where they were gotten to. So they're going to this alternate release schedule where now there's going to be a gap year between releases. Um, so that's kind of, I think they're getting back to basics of trying to come up with more original idea, because the every year thing didn't give them enough time, even though they have multiple studios that develop Call of Duty,
Yeah,
right?
it's hardly ever the
So
same studio back to
right, so
back.
it should the other studio should have already been thinking about what their next idea is that's going to be different, but uh, now they're going to build it into the schedule by, making people hungry for Call of Duty by making it where they don't have it for a year, right? They have to wait. So, but is that going to be enough? Is that enough to drive to get the numbers back up where they, have been for over a decade or more?
We'll see. The market right now is a tough. It's tough for this particular genre because more and more there's a lot of free to play games that are coming out, and free to play games that are actually quite good, right? So if you want to get into like the competitive scene and get into like a larger stage, larger audience, then a well-established franchise like this will do it. But you've got games like the finals that are out there. I mean, Marvel Rivals. that are all shooters, and they're they're decent, right? They probably don't have like the same pockets funding them like like Activision does for this, but they're playable. I mean, and quite engaging. Um, maybe going into like not a yearly release addresses some of the burnout by the player base, and maybe doing it one time will give the publishers time to like really rethink their strategy. Um, do I put out content that's so similar to the last one that it kind of sort of feels like a enhancement slash DLC? Or do I really, go and figure out what the right formula is to come back with this really iconic franchise, is what I'm going to say. Uh, but my fear is what happens in the interim, right? Because you put out a product that's probably, as we've said, already it's already left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Do you try to like do something to attract people, or do you just bite the bullet and say, okay, see you in 2027?
Right. Vance?
Um, I think you bite the bullet and see you in 2027 because I mean like the damage has been done. I mean at this point, I mean like you would have to give away like a lot of kind of like DLC because now it's like people's time and money was spent on this bad game, and then you have a lot of people that are going to other games like Arc Raiders. But the bad part is they're playing it like it's Call of Duty. Like I see people like some people that's playing like the PvP for Arc Raiders, and they have like their KD on the screen. Like you have your KD on the screen, and I'm watching it, and they're literally just pushing everybody, just push, 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 and I'm just like, like you can't
Right.
do nothing but laugh, But it's like so people are looking for that run and gun style of play, but like Call of Duty, like you literally dropped the ball. It's like you gave us new guns that weren't better than the old guns, so everybody is still using the old guns from previous Call of Duties. You gave us old boards, you know, like really like the only thing they're leaning on is trying to like update Warzone, which is free to play, but they're banking on the skins and different things like that. The battle pass, kind of like like make a money, but it's yeah, you bite the bullet and you come back in 2027.
Right. So, yeah, I think that in the version that they come out with in 2027, they're going to have to do a couple of things. How many? I think we've talked about this. I would like, for me personally, I would like a campaign that is good and sensible that you can play solo, Vance, not be forced to play cooperatively with somebody else, but I want a good campaign that makes sense, that but is well written, and I want maps that are based off of what's in the campaign, right? Like they used to do. So I don't understand like the maps like, and this has kind of popped up in a couple of different Call of Duties. Like, okay, you just did a campaign where you spend most of this time trekking through a winter landscape, and in the deep backwoods of Russia, in 4 feet of snow, trying to track some guy down, and then in the game you've got a map of a beach in Miami. Like, makes no sense. Like, there's no cohesion. Like, if you have a game set in the Middle East, well, the majority of the maps that in a map pack that released with the game should be set in that setting. Tie it together to me. So have a good campaign. I'm not asking for an 18-hour campaign. I'm asking for 5 or 6 hours of quality writing that make you remember a character like they used to do, um, in the campaign, and then maps that are from that campaign.
I still remember Ghost.
Yep. The scene where the guy where you go in and you have to attack all of the passengers in the Moscow airport, right? In that game, there's a map where you're in the airport map. Makes sense. Tie it together. Um, and then multiplayer wise, I mean, I would love for them to go back to getting rid of all the fantasy skins. Just restart it. Like, people want to use those skins. Let them use them in their old Call of Duties, but in the new one, go back to being grounded.
Right, like, and if you do have the urge to put skins in the game, make it make sense. You know, like like give me a Predator, but not Predator. Give me the you know Danny Glover skin. Give me the Arnold Schwarzenegger skin. Give me
Well,
skins like the Rambo, like stuff that makes sense. Like
I was talking to Tony about this, and I think it was in the multiplayer for, I want to say maybe it was Black Ops 7, because that's the one that my buddy played a ton. You had the skin for Rambo and John McClane.
right,
Um,
right,
but I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I think that content in some of these games can make or break you. I agree that the skins that are the silly, wacky ones. I mean, I've been playing one time and there's like a race car driver, a dude in a race car driver suit running around. Battlefield 6, I think where it does well is that even though you have multiple skins for your operator, they're all very similar. I mean, it's a sniper, it's a guy who's like on the front lines. They're different, but yet it's not like here's a tourist that should be in Miami or something. Um, so I do agree with that, like heavily agree with that. You have to put it into context of what the game is. Um, I don't know. I mean, I might be wrong, and I might be the only one that feels this way, but I don't necessarily think that you need a campaign in a lot of these games. Many years, I remember hearing from coworkers saying like they'll pop in a game, go into like the multiplayer, and that's all they played for several months. Maybe they'll come back and play the campaign. Whereas I was playing these games backwards. I started the game, I go through the campaign, and then hit the PvP. Um, I don't know. I
Well,
feel like yeah,
this is why I say it should be a campaign. It is not necessarily fully because of it's for the player. It's for the people that are making the game to have a cohesive idea to work around, right? You you have a campaign, so it's going to set you in a period of time. It's going to set you in a location. It's going to give you characters
but
that go through trauma or whatever in the campaign, and then you design based on the experience of the campaign into the multiplayer. So it helps the designers. Like if you're just
but
going to make a game about multiplayer, then it's like, oh, it should look like this, but it doesn't, like, it's missing kind of like the heart
part
of
of me
the
thinks
design
though that
concept.
the developers are gonna either choose one of three settings. Militaries going against the Russians, the Germans, or I don't know, Venezuela now. um,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why not? It should be set into something like that. Like we talked about, like, I mean, you've had a war going on in Ukraine and Russia for 4 years now.
yeah,
Why it? There you go. There's a whole you can do a Call of Duty around the war in Ukraine. You've got
right.
all the newest tech. You've got all these countries that are kind of involved in it. You know, heck, if you want to, you can make the Americans the enemy. Like, and you could be the Russians. Like, oh, let's make a Call of Duty where the people are Russians, and you're playing against,
Ah,
it's never going to sell because the game sells
yeah,
in
I was
America,
gonna say they want to
obviously.
sell
But
copies. Yeah.
but I'm saying, like, you have a thing that's already existing that you can use as a background. You said
Now,
Venezuela.
Right.
Can
here's
you
yeah,
imagine if they put the mission where they just captured Maduro into the
yeah.
game?
They just give him a different name. There's a dictator in a South American country, right?
Yeah. But you put that in the campaign, but you design it almost exactly how they did it in real life. You can't. You're telling me like people wouldn't like? Okay, I want to see how this works. Let's
Yeah,
do
Right.
this.
Right.
yeah.
Because you figure the biggest thing to me is the campaign is telling a story. And if you look at everything, everybody loves a good story, not just any story, but a good story. Like you figure, like how big was Michael Jackson's Thriller because of the story that it told. Like you figure, like the movies that you see on the screen, like it starts like with a story, and people are like, okay, was that story told good? Like shows, like hey, like how long can you carry this story? Like everything, like even in music, So it's like with a video game for a solo player, like you have some people that that do want to play solo because they don't want to fool around with the shenanigans of people that don't want to play right. So that campaign is going to carry that game because I know there were, when I used to stand in line at GameStop, there were people that just played the campaign, like multiplayer, like what's that? And I was the opposite. I never played the campaign, but once I start playing it, and then like the story and stuff, because even with zombies, like the open world zombies, like that story was decent. It's like okay, I want to
I
see what they
agree. I
do,
agree.
next. But then when they didn't do anything next with it, you're like, okay, so you
N-
just left me at a cliffhanger, But
eh, eh,
campaigns
eh,
are, I feel like, are important to the game.
But but actually, that brings me to the next point I was going to make. I mean, okay, so we're talking here campaigns, yes, no. If yes, it has to be a good campaign, right? Um, I feel that again, we kind of touched a little bit on this earlier, is that if you have a zombies mode, give me a good zombies mode. Give me something that I want to play. I think over and over again, when I keep hearing the horde approach towards zombies, it's like it was good. It's been done 100 times. There's no consequence. It's just like repetitive. Do this 50 times until you get bored. I I I think that Call of Duty eventually got, you know, separated from the competition because they started doing these things and they started developing additional stuff beyond the campaign, beyond the player versus the PvP, and they started doing this like little niche thing that started evolving and getting better over time. Again, give me a good version of zombies, and I personally would probably buy this game for that much more than anything else. Okay. Um,
Yeah, and we talked about this too. Um, I, I brought up the legendary weapons, right, for the zombies mode,
yeah.
right? So
The,
we already know that it these games mostly require online connections nowadays, right, to
yeah,
play them.
for sure.
So with that in place, you can introduce limited numbers of real weapons that are legendary, like
I thought
uh,
this was Vance. I'm gonna let Tony tell you this, but I thought this was a good idea. I mean, I was like, Tony, you should patent this somewhere.
yeah, so introduce like 1,000 weapons of a super submachine gun or something that's super powerful that shoots electricity and all kinds of stuff. Whatever. Again, this has to be in zombies mode. Um, and then there's only 1,000 versions of this or 100 versions, whatever the number you come up with. It doesn't matter. Um, and then every time somebody acquires this weapon, and it's usually through the result of completing like the most difficult quest or something. Uh, you get to keep this weapon and use this weapon until you die or you lose control, like you drop the weapon, right? Just like they had in the previous zombie open world zombie, where if you drop the weapon in the game, then you lost it. So same concept, but the game the weapon actually has a history, right? Like you while in your menu you could look at it and say, "Oh, Vance owned this weapon on this between March and July." And it would have a record of every player that ever had that weapon, but it also would have the moment um, that that player lost the weapon. So if they died, you could go back and actually see, like, on clicking on that date or that moment, like how they lost it. But
So
so you
so
see that in a lot
so
of games
Sam,
now. Like, go ahead.
so Sam from Heaven had this specific rocket launcher from December 31st till January the 5th.
Right, yeah. But if you don't use the weapon, like if you don't play the game, then after you know a 2 weeks time, the weapon leaves your inventory and goes back into the pool, right? So it's never just lost. As long as you keep playing, you can keep the weapon. But it's going to have a history of all the players that ever play with this weapon. And then say like Ninja or Dr. Disrespect or, one of those other big time streamers, they have the weapon, they end up losing it at some point. You can actually see, hey, this weapon was owned at some point by this player. So legendary weapons have history. That's what makes them legendary. Um, so the weapons in the game are actually historic. They actually have moments tied to them. And you add your name to it. So you'll be part of the history of that weapon. That's going to be in rotation so other people can see. So true legendary weapons, not just are an arbitrary name that's given to a weapon, um, but
And,
actually true
and Tony, I
status.
love the content that's specific to a game mode idea that you share too, because there was a one zombies mode that I remember playing. I think this one was actually Black Ops, Cold War, and I remember picking up a mallet as a melee weapon, um, and you could pack a punch it, and give it like some elemental properties. I remember somehow I ended up with a combination that was a mallet that had electricity, and I got an achievement like like Thor's hammer. And it was, silly stuff, but again, it only works in these kind of game modes.
Yeah. And then you could, Activision could, have a website that's dedicated to showing the highlights of players with these weapons.
So Bungie back in the day for the original Destiny, you could go and find like a specific match that you've played and see your stats and whatever. You could like track what you're saying, like
Or Marvel
who's
Rivals does that.
right, like who's owned this gun, who's the current owner.
Yeah. You can
And
go back
because
and
there's
track
only
anybody's matches in Marvel
right,
Rivals
right,
and see them play from their perspective. So the technologies are way there. And so it's like,
right. So keeping track of this is not that hard, to be honest.
right. Be
No.
creative. They need to, come up with some new ideas. Like we said, like
Question.
I,
Do you guys remember in the original Black Ops? I think it dropped in the Xbox 360 days because I think I had it for that generation. That there was like this top-down game mode. It was like Smash TV,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
Do you would you want that to come back?
Eh,
Mm.
it could be fun. It could be
As a
fun.
free mode.
Yeah, free mode. Why not? Yeah, why not?
I'll take whatever. It's
I'll take
extra.
whatever. Just give me a good game.
Yeah, as long
Absolutely.
as the rest of the game is good, you can throw extras in there. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, any other thoughts of like what Activision can do besides the alternating schedule?
Um, better, more proactive cheater banning or something, man. There's
I agree.
there's been some matches I've played in the history where somebody's just are randomly shooting at a wall, but they're hitting people that's like two buildings on the other side, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's something that they've been combating for a long time. But there's always going to be cheaters, so I don't know.
There's
Perma
all
ban? I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're
you
just going to
can
make a new account.
yeah the patch comes after somebody came up with the hack
Yeah.
and not the other way around.
Well, what do you guys think in 2027? What do you think? Are they going to do it? Are they going to be able to do it or not?
Okay, they have to try. There's been such a significant investment from Microsoft slash Xbox to purchase Activision that they have to try. $69 billion are in play. So there it before the business model, like you had two business models. You come up with a Grand Theft Auto once every other game generation and live off of that for like multiple years, and it's successful. Call of Duty had the model of like I'm pumping out a game every year and they're all going to be successful, so therefore I'm making a bunch of money. I think they finally realized this was not the year for that. Um, Tony, I'm still laughing at the Xbox dropped the ball on the wrong year headline that you read from Eurogamer. Um, I think that they're gonna have to come back and say, okay, we need to just do like one massively good game to justify a lot of things because again, at some point, I mean, Microsoft could just be like, all right, we just bought all these things. Let's divest. Let's get out of the gaming industry, which I think they kind of sort of already are. Um, Here's these IPs. Who's the bidder who wants to buy them?
Mm. Sell it off piecemeal?
Yeah.
Yep. Vance, what do you think?
Uh, I think yeah. I mean, they literally don't have a choice because if everything goes according to plan and they don't have anything like super dope by the time Grand Theft Auto comes out,
I was just going to say,
they're going to lose
I was just going to say,
a whole lot more than 300 million if they don't have
right.
anything to
So, well,
handle
they're
that.
not. So let's think about this, right? This is a mega corporation and they're going to spin stuff how they think you want to hear, right? They know that you want to hear that they want to reinvest in quality, right? So let's tell them that we want to put our noses back to the grindstone and give you a better quality product. All the while knowing that in November or October, when Call of Duty typically drops, that in 2026, a Goliath of a game is going to be dropping in that window, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
GTA is going to be dropping in the window that Call of Duty would have dropped in. So instead of just saying, you know what, we're just making room for GTA, let's say, hey, we want to reinvest in quality, right? So you kind of have to be wary of what this mega corporation is telling you. It sounds good, but there's usually some sort of, sleight of hand involved with it. So
Yep, it's going
that
to be
yeah, I
interesting.
agree with you, Vance. They are just clearing the way for GTA at the same time trying to make themselves, oh, we're going to provide you with quality. Be interesting to see how many other games are releasing in that window too, or is it going to be totally cleared out?
Oh, it's gonna be totally cleared out, man.
Has to be
You
cleared out.
know it.
You
You
know,
know it.
treated
Either you're going to have to drop 2 months before GTA or
No,
3 months
you
after
you
GTA.
know the only games that are gonna release in that window are the games that the developers know are gonna be bombs. So they're gonna be like, oh look, it didn't
Yeah,
sell too well. Maybe we should have timed this
yeah.
different, but
So
it would have done.
fourth quarter of 2026 is just GTA,
I think
and
so.
then
Just
bad
GTA.
games.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Funny. So here we are. We've boiled it all down. Xbox's strategy, Activision's strategy, all boils down to the release of another company's game.
To the release date.
absolutely.
Right? GTA. All right. Cool. Well, you guys have anything else?
There's a couple good topics, Tony, that we have in the hopper, but I just kind of want to put this in everyone's ear. If you're listening to this, remember we have the game draft coming up. All right, this was a lot of fun. Uh, we had one winner who wasn't part of our staff right here. It was somebody else who was a member, a listener to the community. He got a gift card, and I don't know what he bought with the gift card. I hope he bought a video game. But we want to see if we can bring him back. He's expressed interest in participating this year. If you want to participate with us, make sure to tune in on the dates that we've specified on the Discord channel. We will be doing this live because we will be taking your input to make sure that we don't double up on the same games. And there's going to be some rules that are going to be potentially added, maybe because whoever picks GTA 6 wins the draft. I don't know.
Well, that won't be till the second part, so we're clear. We're clear on the first one.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, cool topics coming up. The draft is coming up. I want to make sure everyone knows about that so that you can join and participate with us in this one.
Yeah, I think that's January 19th is the initial date that we set
Yes,
Yes,
January
it
for
is.
the
19th.
draft. Yep. All right.
2 weeks.
Which
Cool.
which is
Vance, you got anything?
basically the next one.
Um, hey, get ready for Arc Raiders. Hey, we here. You know what I'm saying?
That's
We here.
right. Vance picked up Arc Raiders. He's a noob to that game. He should be streaming it, so stay on the lookout for Vance's streams of Arc Raiders. It should be entertaining.
Yep. Also been looking for help in the Discord as well. So if you're an Arc Raider fan, join the Discord. You can help. So far, I've been knock on wood. I've been safe. Don't shoot.
Yeah,
Good players. So
Hello Raider first, shoot later.
right.
right.
And we've come across this our Twitch stream, and we are an audio podcast. So check out our podcast. We have an archive of about 150, 160 episodes.
We're in the
So
150s to 160 now.
yeah, so check out our audio podcast, Good to Game Radio. It's on almost the majority of the streaming platforms out there that you can listen to, Spotify, iTunes, just you name it, you can find us. So check out those episodes, um, and leave a review. Send us a comment. You can send us a comment in the show notes or the show description. There's a link there to send us comments. But yeah, share the episodes, either this Twitch stream or the audio podcast. Share that with your friends, and or give us a review. Just that would help us greatly. So we really enjoy putting the show on for you guys. So we will catch you on the next episode. Appreciate everybody, and see you guys later.
See you guys.
Later.